Okay, so it's Wednesday, November 21st, and I can feel the chill coming in. I can feel it, and apparently it's only going to get worse from here. So no breaks. We're just going to drive right on it into winter. Um, so yeah, I've been thinking about this new atheist thing, and if you've been following my blog, you'll see that I've never used the word new atheist. I've never used that term. Um, and it's for a good reason because I do think that atheism does exist in a way that is disconnected from social movements and cultural movements and memes and things like that. And there's even books about atheism, speaking about atheism from an ancient perspective. And there's been atheism all through, like, the Bertrand Russell years and Carl Sagan and all these guys, and further back than that, obviously, in recent history. So yeah, I don't use the word new atheist or new atheism because I find it gets a little bit too stitched to a fad or just some sort of like frivolous movement that just kind of fluttered in and is now fluttering out. Um, but at the same time, I'm discovering this kind of this new branching of atheists. I guess I have to say that talk a lot about some of the pitfalls of being anthropic, of being of focusing on morality as a human thing. And you can get into weird issues like species. Not that it's weird, but speciesism, and I don't know if I said that right, but you get the point. So I mean, there's a like a very self-centered way of looking at humanism, basically, which I think kind of has some kind of connection to atheism, in a certain way. I mean, you could probably find that very easily. Um, it's kind of like the alternative to religion, really. Um, Now, it's not to say that I don't think that human life should be productive and we should strive to have better lives on the earth. Like I don't think that we should shy away from going at great lengths to basically ensure that everything on the earth is as productive and happy as possible. I mean, I do believe that should happen. It's just that I find that sometimes we may run the risk of placing too much emphasis on what we can do about those things as opposed to things that we shouldn't be doing. Climate change being, a big example. Um, so anyway, so yeah, so that's that. But I'm not an evolutionary biologist, so I'm not going to pretend to know what I'm talking about. But I did do this post recently about the way in which it's sort of a gray area, but the way in which hold on, I have to look this up. Okay, so this is what I wrote. I'll just, and you can read it on Spiralvent if you like. But yeah, I basically wrote that I may not be the perfect atheist, whatever that means, but far from being mysterious, the world to a staunch believer is set. If you begin at moderatism in questioning the world, if you begin, you're already on your way out. Otherwise, you're inventing the mystery of God with benefits while the universe expands. At most, I can say that on a practical level, not everyone has access to alternative explanations of the world aside from religion. But that's already difficult to say simply. In a way, that doesn't detract from better understanding reality. If we're still mired in Victorian age ethics and morals, it's probably because so much of the world is still actually religious, and a reframing of such ethics as derivative of evolutionary traits is always usurped by common belief, which ambiguously came from the same source, a la Brett Weinstein. And then in any case, I was enthused to know that suffragists and Christians were also rebuked as atheists at some point in time. Um, so, okay, so I'm saying a whole bunch of stuff there, and I'm probably mischievously making references to things and people, just to get things going. But yes, I do believe that there is a delusional quality to believing in God. And Brett Weinstein, in his latest interview with Dave Rubin on the Rubin Report, actually makes a point of saying that it's not delusional, it's not mentally ill. But I mean, you run into evolutionary biologists that talk about things like, you know, the person who thinks the shaking bush in the savannah is actually a lion, whether it be a lion or not, is probably more likely to survive than somebody who thinks it's absolutely not a lion and goes running into the bush. So I take delusion to be contextualized in that way, when in the sense in which Richard Dawkins says, sorry, the God delusion. Um, I take it delusion to mean, just basically the defects of genetic traits, the defects of human behavior, or any behavior from in the animal kingdom for that matter. So that's how I take delusion. I don't, and there's a video coming up, I guess, in 2 weeks or something, with Brett Weinstein debating Richard Dawkins, and that would be very interesting to watch and to see where that chapter 11 thing gets in the mix, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I do think there are, while the world does move faster than evolution can keep up with, I do think there's ways of moving forward when it comes to believing and not believing. And I think a lot of it has to do with access to information. Um, I think, as Brett Weinstein would say himself, the cultural layer of evolution is very, can be very transient. It can shift horizontally, it can shift vertically. And so I do believe there's a malleability to culture, and that includes religion and belief in God. So I don't see it as written in stone or anything. But anyway, that's where I'll leave this video for today. Like I said, I've been getting into some gray area, but as much as I'm getting into gray area, I'm feeling like a bit of a push into something that is less like a cul-de-sac when it comes to atheism, and more like a variety of beliefs and routes to take when it comes to talking about this stuff. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it. Bye.